How y'all doing today? Today we're working on a 2010 BMW 650i, replacing a passenger side seatbelt pretensioner for the front seat.
What happened?
Right, the seatbelt went bad. Seatbelt pretensioner went bad. He set off the airbag light. So in this situation, what you might run into is you'd have an airbag light on and you scan it, and you got a code for your seatbelt pretensioner. So this is going to be how you would repair that seatbelt pretensioner. Yep. So you start by moving this seat all the way back. You got to leave the battery hooked up for this. So you move the seat all the way back, and then there's two 16mm bolts that are right there.
Is it all the way back?
Yeah, it's fine. Right there, and they're covered like that. So you just pop that plastic piece off, and then you'd unbolt that bolt, which I had already done. And then on the other side, and now behind the seat in the rear, there's two more 16mm bolts. I'm gonna hand the phone over to my trusty stepdaughter Malaya, and she's gonna videotape me taking out the bolts. Just leave it going. Try to get a video of me taking out the bolts. You don't have to get crazy close if you don't. You can even get behind me if you want.
I thought it was like that.
That's good. No, not like that. And if you're lucky,
Wow.
like I am, you'll have an electric ratchet like this to make the process of getting out these bolts. Just put the camera right there. Always keep all your bolts occupied in an easy to access, organized area, so that way you do not lose customers' bolts. Everything that comes off the vehicle goes back on just like it was from the factory.
It's too high.
It's okay.
He's strong.
We took the bolts out. As you can see, we have a lot of easy access to the belt pretensioner. I'll show it to you in a second, boo. So here's the seatbelt pretensioner itself. Looks as though it is bolted on with a torx bit, which I'll be able to get you the size in a second here. Yes, it's bolted on with the torx bit. And here is the issue, right here. So he doesn't need to replace the seatbelt pretensioner. He just needs to repair these lights. I mean, these wires here. So, yeah, he just needs to repair these wires. Which, at this point, in a situation like this, you definitely want to notify the customer and let them know about the possibility of a cheaper repair. So that's what we're gonna do. But in the meantime,
Sorry.
I'll go ahead and continue with the repair. Okay.
Sorry, I'm moving
The
this.
battery's this right here. So this is
That's
the
the whole
negative
battery.
terminal, and this is the positive terminal.
Okay.
Whenever you disconnect the battery, you always disconnect the negative terminal.
Yes.
So that way,
Yes.
it prevents any sort of issues with arcing or anything like that. If there's still power in the system for whatever reason.
Yes.
So go ahead and unhook the battery.
And then
With the negative terminal of the battery, move it over to the side like this. Make sure it's safe, out of the way, not easily gonna reconnect.
yeah.
Now at that point, you could even take something like this.
And then
It just
you can
happens to
just
be in the
put it right
customer's
there.
trunk. put it in between the battery.
So it doesn't
terminal.
reconnect. So it doesn't
So here's the seatbelt pretensioner connector for the airbag, to the body control module. There's a connector to the body control module. So there's gonna be a little clip right here, as you can see. What I typically do is I take a flathead screwdriver of some sort, preferably not one this big, but because of experience, I know that I don't have to go crazy with it because you do not want to break these components. Slide this out
and
to
then
disengage the clip.
And then you like kind of
and then go ahead
and take it
get it all the way out. Now you're disconnected. So we fast forwarded a little bit to the repair of the wiring. We already went ahead, repaired the wires, covered it with some electrical tape, and used a couple butt connectors like this to splice the wires together. Now to put the pretensioner back on, there is a metal clip that hangs off of the seat that sits inside of this circle or oval. To make sure that the seat belt buckle is actually aligned in the correct position, simply insert the seatbelt pretensioner or buckle into that metal clip, as so. Reinsert your bolt. With the pretensioner seated correctly, you should not have any issues in the future with being able to buckle your seat or anything like that, as long as you have that in the correct position. So I went ahead and fastened, hand tight, fastened the seatbelt pretensioner down. Now, in order to complete the repair as best as possible, in as smart of a manner as possible, we're going to reconnect the connector. We're going to reconnect this connector down here to this bracket under the seat, because that is the issue. That was the original issue that allowed the wires to break. 100%. So as you can see, there's teeth that come off of that bracket right there that fit into these slots on the connector. So we're gonna insert those correctly. And after we do that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap these wires around the belt pretensioner with some tape. Wrap some tape around the wires and fasten them to the metal of the pretensioner. So as the seat moves back and forward, there's no worries about any future cuts of wires because of that.